Convair Division of General Dynamics received authorization on 12 February 1969 to proceed with the design, fabrication, installation, and testing of the General Electric M61A1 20mm Vulcan gun system and of a clear-top canopy. F-106A, serial number 580795, arrived at the San Diego facility on 17 February, and the design and aircraft modifications were initiated in our experimental building. The gun and accessories are palletized and enclosed in a structural box suspended from the aft center missile bay roof. This location was selected to eliminate engine inlet ingestion problems associated with other aircraft gun installations. The structural enclosure has an opening in the forward bulkhead for the ram air inlet, with the ram air scoop located in the environmental compartment door. This ram air system operates whenever gun firing is initiated and performs continuously for 30 seconds after firing shutdown. A double-ended, closed-loop, linkless ammunition feed system is used. Empty cases and cleared rounds are returned to the ammunition drum rather than being ejected during firing. The drum holds 650 rounds of 20mm ball, armor-piercing incendiary, or high-explosive incendiary ammunition. The entrance chute feeds ammunition to the breech, with the exit chute returning empty cases to the drum. Installation of the gun system in a structural box provides a means of isolating gun components from the missile bay and facilitates environmental conditioning during firing. Installing the gun necessitates removal of the Air 2A capability, but does not affect the AIM-4 system. During Convair's testing, the forward AIM-4 missiles and launchers were removed to make space for the instrumentation. Aft missile bay inner doors were modified to close on the sides of the gun compartment. Missile bay doors forward of the gun muzzle were also modified to prevent damage from gun blast. Other modifications included a 27-gallon per minute Vickers hydraulic pump in the secondary system to provide sufficient hydraulic flow to set the gunfire rate at 4,300 shots per minute. An optical reflex gun sight, consisting of components from several different gun sight models, was provided from Air Force inventory and was mounted to the forward windshield frame support. The design, fabrication, and installation of the gun system and canopy were completed on 23 July 1969, and the aircraft was ferried to Edwards Air Force Base for ground and flight testing on 6 August 1969. From 8 through 12 August, the aircraft's instrumentation subsystem and ground support instrumentation systems for recording temperatures, pressures, and load stress parameters were set up at the Edwards Air Force Base 1,000-foot gun butts, and initial testing started. Initial ammunition loadings and proofing of gun firing procedures were conducted, and the first ground firing of 100-round bursts was accomplished on 13 August. An 8mm bore sight target was placed 1,000 inches forward of the gun muzzle. This target is utilized to align the gun with aircraft geometry for proper bore sighting, and includes corrections for throw and dwell, which are associated with gun firing dynamics. The gun was fired through the 1,000-inch bore sight target into the 14 by 14-foot target at a range of 1,000 feet. Of the rounds fired, 95 to 99% were within an 8-foot diameter bullseye on this target. Ground test firings progressed from 100 through 200, 400, 500, and 650 round bursts. Due to the shooting system and the final rounds clearing cycle, the gun fires 625 shots out of 650 rounds loaded. On 25 August, the final ground firing of 625 rounds was conducted, with the aircraft's engine running and with the gun controlled from the cockpit. Prior to receipt of the gun at Convair, 17,784 rounds were fired through this system for reliability and proofing tests at the General Electric Armament Facility at Burlington, Vermont. During Convair's ground test program, 4,113 rounds of ball ammunition were fired. A combined total of 21,897 rounds were fired through the system before proceeding with the flight test phase. Ammunition was loaded at the Edwards Air Force Base hot gun line in preparation for the first flight on 27 August. A complete complement of 650 rounds of ball ammunition was linked together as a continuous belt on the ammunition cart. Gun loading was accomplished with a pneumatic loader. The gun can also be loaded hydraulically with power supplied by the engine running at idle. As ammunition is received into the gun system, the loading links are ejected overboard and retained for future use. Upon completion of the loading sequence, the fairing door was secured and the aircraft was ready for its first gun-firing flight. The symbols on the F-106A flight envelope indicate the actual altitude and airspeed gun-firing parameters successfully conducted by Convair. Altitude, 3,000 to 35,000 feet. Mach number, 0.6 to 1.9. Calibrated airspeed, 165 to 690 knots. The F-106 gun system performed successfully at the aircraft's design load factors of -3G to +7G, and during maximum side slips, hinge moment limit turns, and in simulated aerial combat maneuvers. The superior flight performance of the F-106 above 35,000 feet was not demonstrated during this feasibility program, as the parameters of Mach and temperatures above this test altitude are redundant. Following are selected sequences from the 9 test flights conducted for data acquisition. After 25 minutes of cold soak, the first firing of 610 rounds in a continuous burst was conducted over the Pacific Missile Range at 35,000 feet, 0.6 Mach. Altitude 25,000 feet, 1.1 Mach, while firing 90 rounds. The camera speed is 250 frames per second, therefore the gun action is slowed considerably. Gun gas trails aft and away from the engine inlets and is not a problem with this installation. Here, the aircraft is in a -1G pushover at 35,000 feet altitude, 0.92 Mach, while firing an 87-round burst. Altitude 25,000 feet, 1.1 Mach, while firing a 193-round burst. A 90-round firing at a calibrated airspeed of 165 knots at 10,000 feet. The clear-top canopy consists of a one-piece, 3/4-inch thick cast acrylic enclosure, formed to extend over the top with the sides bulged of the pilot's head. This acrylic enclosure fits into modified existing canopy structure and is interchangeable with the production canopy assembly. In order to meet the stringent schedule and cost commitments of this program, the canopy was cleared for unpressurized flight only and was restricted to 25,000 feet altitude at a speed of 660 knots calibrated. Firing 197 rounds with a clear-top canopy installed was accomplished at 25,000 feet, 1.5 Mach, 660 knots calibrated. A total of 5,237 rounds were fired during Convair's flight test program. A cumulative total of 27,134 rounds were expended during all phases of testing. 2 AIM-4 missiles were carried in the aft bay during a series of flights. Firing of the M61A1 gun does result in an increase in the vibration level imposed on the launch rail of the AIM-4 missiles. This increased vibration level is, however, significantly below the level imposed by the turbulent airstream when the missiles are extended to their normal launch position. A total of 7.5 months were required from go-ahead to the delivery of the aircraft to Tyndall Air Force Base on 25 September, 4 days ahead of schedule. Successful completion of the M61A1 gun and clear-top canopy test program is signified by the Victory Roll. And of a clear-top canopy. F-106A, serial number 580795, arrived at the San Diego facility on 17 February, and the design and aircraft modifications were initiated in our experimental building. Convair Division of General Dynamics received authorization on 12 February 1969 to proceed with the design, fabrication, installation, and testing of the General Electric M61A1 20mm Vulcan gun system. The gun and accessories are palletized and enclosed in a structural box suspended from the aft center missile bay roof. This location was selected to eliminate engine inlet ingestion problems associated with other aircraft gun installations. The structural enclosure has an opening in the forward bulkhead for the ram air inlet, with the ram air scoop located in the environmental compartment door. This ram air system operates whenever gun firing is initiated and performs continuously for 30